Yeah. What's going on, people? Welcome to day 2 of our E3 coverage. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How you doing?
All right, so you guys know the drill. We're going to tell you about our second day of E3. We started with the fucking crowds and all that nonsense and stuff. You didn't even get to play any games, did you? Like yesterday, you didn't.
Just one.
Okay, and before you even go on, you usually play a shit ton of games.
Yeah. I usually play a pretty good amount, but yeah.
Yeah. It's bullshit, man. I played a bunch of games. No, today I didn't play a lot. I played yesterday, but I did play some games you will want to know about. But I'll tell you all later. So you start. What happened to you today, man?
Well, I started the day, walked around the show, and then it was they supposedly reorganized a way a lot of the lines were, so that now that they don't so they don't get to flood the they don't flood the show, so you don't have a bunch of lines running over everything. So now it was like, you could actually see the booths and take photos of them this time.
Oh, okay.
So that was better. I was able to walk around the actual Nintendo booth a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was pretty good, but I didn't play anything, which is kind of cool. What was kind of cool about the Nintendo booth is that they had different types of stations. So they had normal stations where you could play Mario Odyssey, like stand-up stations, and then they had little tables that were tables and benches babysitted by people that were there to watch the different stuff. So yeah, it's like they're all dressed up like fake New Yorkers. Like they have like fedoras on and stuff like that.
Oh,
so they're just sitting there, and you're either playing Mario Odyssey or you're playing whatever on there with them. So then I walked around and I was like looking for something to do. So then eventually I worked my way over into the Sega section, and I noticed that, looking at all the different sections, see what I could play. I noticed that, oh, hey, there's the Sonic Mania section, which was the Wii U. There wasn't much people standing there.
Yeah.
So still on those lines.
Sonic Mania for the Wii U.
Not the Wii U. It's not the Wii U. I'll bring the Switch. So yeah.
Yeah.
I tried it out on the Switch. It was real nice. It worked real well.
Yeah.
And that's the only game that I actually played. I ended up later on hooking up with the former publicity guy from Metal Gear Solid, Robert Peeler, who recently left Konami.
Yeah.
And Jessica Negri, I think her name.
Oh yeah, the cosplayer, right?
Yeah, we saw her.
Yeah.
Long pink hair. Yeah.
No,
Crystal
Graziano.
Crystal Graziano.
Fine woman, man. Just saying.
Crystal Graziano and her husband, and Sean Icestone.
Yeah, oh really?
Kojima Productions.
Oh shit,
which is kind of fun. Yeah, so he Robert kind of pulled us all together to have a little bit of a lunch.
Oh, nice.
So it was good. It was nice to catch up with Crystal. I mean, I had seen her pretty recently at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, we saw her yesterday too.
Yeah, we saw her yesterday too at the Let It Die thing. So she was actually saying, at the time, she was saying hello to another friend who's a cosplayer and a really great artist, Jocelyn.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
Like, yo, man, that's your girlfriend's name.
Yeah, no, her name was Jocelyn too. It's kind of fun how you kind of tend to know this people with similar names.
Yes.
So yeah, we all kind of caught up. I talked to Sean Icestone a little bit, and asked him, just burning dev questions.
Yeah.
He actually left after the whole big Kojima Productions thing. He actually decided not to stay in Japan, and
really
came back to the United States. And
interesting.
I'm like, you were done with that with Japan. He's like, yeah, I kind of wanted to come back. He's like, it's interesting living in Japan, but it can be you kind of don't want to stay around, especially being a Westerner.
Yeah, that's true.
So he was like, he says he's like, definitely visit, but don't. It's like I was stayed there for such a long time. I kind of wanted to come back and do stuff. So last thing I remember, he was at EA for a bit, but I don't know anything further about what is going on with him. But yeah, I asked him some of those burning questions about development, because he kind of went from being he was the guy that actually developed, who actually designed the Metal Gear Solid 1 level in Metal Gear Solid 4. That was crazy. His baby right there.
Nice.
So he went from that to becoming a producer. And he's like, yeah, you know, I'm like, did you, when you were doing all the producing stuff, did you actually miss getting down there and actually getting in there and, you know, programming stuff?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, definitely, you know, because you get to have that, you know, you get to have that control over. But he's like, you know, he's like, when he did get promoted, he's like, you know, Kojima was like, hey, you know, I know you really enjoyed the programming side of stuff, but you know, you'll still be part of the creative process.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just get an overarching look as to what it would look, you know, what the whole process is. And I asked him a couple of other dev questions and stuff. And we talked about other fun, you know, stuff that was going on. And it was a really good lunch. It was
nice.
A really good lunch. And then after that, I went back into the hall again to see what else I was going to play.
Which one, west or south?
West, because Robert was going to go to Square because he used to be a publicity guy for Square before he went to Konami.
Wait, but Square's in the South Hall.
It's the South Hall. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
So we went over into that hall, you know, because I hadn't fully seen it yet. So I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll walk with you. And we walked over, and I was like, hey, you know, I'll see you later, guys. It's good to see you again. Blah blah. I said, you know, so long to Crystal and her husband. We all parted ways. And then I was down there looking around, and I bumped into Young.
Oh yeah,
from you know,
Young, yeah.
I bumped into him, and he's like, hey, dude, are you going to the Kojima the Kojima panel thing? I'm like, I don't know, man. I heard that people were lining up at like 7 a.m. in the morning to get into that.
Damn.
Shit. And he's like, I'm like, you know what? He's like, do you think it's worth it? I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should go and just check to see if it's cool. So then after that, like, we go over and we get online, and we actually run into a fan. I actually reposted
nice.
It's kind of funny because all the people that I met in 2015 that Konami invited to come for Metal Gear Solid 5. Remember when they had that big mother base shit?
Yeah.
That when it was pretty much, I've seen every single person with the exception of the folks from Europe.
Yeah.
All those guys showed up. So we got online, and then all of a sudden, you know, we see this one dude, and we saw, like, me and Young took a picture of him with this dude 3 years ago.
Oh shit.
So he's like, oh man, Young. He's like, man, Young, Amelia, I didn't even expect to see you, and you just pop up at the same time.
That's funny.
So he's getting all cool and you know, and happy about that. And then Young, eventually they told us, like, oh yeah, you can't go in with your bags, so you got to go to the Marriott. And it's to Young, he's like, listen, you look like your media, so you know, you have media badges and stuff, so go to the media section and you'll go through there. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, dude, they're saying I can't, you know, bring my bag in.
Yeah.
So he's like, dude, I'll hold the spot for you, and then just you can go and, you know, go to the Marriott and drop your bag off and then come back. So
nice.
So the dude held the spot for me, and I came back and we all got in. Dude, I was literally in the nosebleeds, top part of that place.
Oh man.
So it's the highest point in that place I was in.
Yeah.
It was cool, but it was just like, wow, we're really up there. But it was fun. It was cool to get in. And the Kojima thing, which was kind of cool, it wasn't about the Death Stranding. There was no Death Stranding talk. It was really just about his influences in movies and stuff. And it was hosted by the director of Kong Skull Island, who will be directing Metal Gear the movie.
Yeah. We'll see about that.
We'll see what happens with that.
Goes.
We'll see how what happens with that, which is cool. I mean, it was a really cool thing. It was nice to see him. It was a different type of Kojima in this one, where usually it's like, oh, you know, very, you know, practiced and stuff. He seemed incredibly excited to talk about these things. Nice. Like, to the point where he was literally talking over Ken Mendoza, the translator. Wow. He's like, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, Ken hasn't even finished saying the last thing he was saying. He's like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, and then he seemed very excited about it. And he talked about all the movies that were his, you know, like Streets of Fire. Yeah. What was that? Assault on Precinct 13. In fact, he said, out of the 3 John Carpenter movies, The Thing, Assault on Precinct 13, and Escape from New York, he said, what do you think is the best of them? And he's like, Assault on Precinct 13.
Oh wow.
A lot of the people in the crowd really were like, they didn't really know.
They didn't know that.
They don't know that movie. He mentioned a couple of movies. They were just like, oh. So it was actually a really good thing. The intro of the show was pretty cool. Like Keely's like, oh, we have something to show you, and everyone's like, oh, they're thinking like it's
Stranding.
No, it was just the intro to the the Ludens intro of him walking on the moon and stuff. So then you see that, and then you see the dude who was dressed like Ludens that we've seen Kojima like posting shots of.
Yeah.
Apparently that dude was, I guess Kojima invited him in.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. So this dude full decked out in the spacesuit, like in
crazy
like the thing. Really amazing job. I actually got to talk to him. I think I said that before. And then from there,
you got stories.
Look at all this. I'm having all these adventures outside of the convention. Usually it's in the convention. Yeah. So after that, I'm at going to get my my bag, and then I meet more of the people that I met on 2015 when Konami.
All those guys showed up.
I met those guys, and then we're there talking about stuff, and they're kind of reminiscing about Kojima. And she's like, one of my friends was saying, "Oh man, I wish I could actually tell him, how much he meant, his games meant to us and all that stuff." And I'm like, I'm sure, I'm like, listen, I'm sure he has a good idea how a lot of the fans feel about the games and how, and what their effects on him. I mean, a lot of people probably tell him that. Yeah. So then after that, I'm like, hey, what's that star on your hand? And they're like, oh, hey, there's this Professor Layton thing on the other side. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, they're like free food and all kinds of stuff. You just tell them that you found this thing on Twitter, and they give you this anniversary coin. I'm like, all right. And so I got after that, I got a nice free drink and all that stuff. So it was really nice. Oh, and the guy that we met on the line, he took a photo of me and Young. Yeah, which is kind of cool.
That's pretty cool. By the way, shout out to some of the guys in the chat. I know there's not very many of you tonight for some reason. Yeah. Daniel J. and my man Rerez up in Canada. What's up, man? He wanted to know if we're having fun at E3. Yes and no. Like obviously hanging out with my buddies and stuff, it's fun, but the actual like E3, it's I'm gonna say right now, this is probably the worst E3 I've ever attended. Like, it's pretty fucking bad.
It's weird. It's weird the fact that like being in the actual E3 is not the thing that really that I'm talking about.
Yeah, think about this. This guy's been talking all this time. He hasn't said anything about the actual E3 yet.
Anything about actual E3. I mean, the only I walked around the Sony booth and it looks nice. I got to see some of the other
things. Play anything though.
I went to Indiecade and I saw some pretty cool games there, but I didn't feel the urge to play anything. I mean,
by the way, SN Rashid likes your shirt.
Oh, thank you. I made it myself.
Yeah. I don't know if you want me to blow up your spot who you are, but that's my man right there. Manny knows who he is. Yeah. But I mean, like today, what did I do? I went to go. I'm gonna do it out of work. I'm forgetting shit. I'm fucking tired. I went to play Dragon Ball. What do they call it? Dragon Ball Fighters Z, whatever. So, but before that, it was hilarious. So they had an hour presentation. It was Bandai Namco, right? An hour presentation. So they sat us down and they did like a movie. It was like a presentation. It was on Project Cars, Ni no Kuni 2, and Dragon Ball, right? Nice. The guy who was presenting not Forza, the fucking Project Cars. This guy was talking a lot of shit about Forza. It was hilarious. He was like, oh yeah, there's some other traces out there that are just getting dynamic weather. We've had that shit since day one, right? And then he stops with the pre-sentence. He goes, Forza keeps saying that they did this and that. We did that shit first. And he's like, oh yeah, how Forza is always telling you how, they have all these like, esports things like every few months. Like Project Cars, we've been doing esports every week for the last 2 years. And they have contests every single week, But Project Cars, like, I'm not really like a sim racing guy, but this thing is crazy. Like they were showing like, some of the graphics, like they had like a racetrack, right? It started raining. And the pool actually started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they said like the weather is so dynamic, like basically it could start raining. Let's say you're at the beginning of the track and it starts raining there, right? Like the cloud actually go back. So by the time you get back to that beginning part, it may actually be dry already, And then they show the car sliding and stopping, but in slow motion, like you see the wheels like wobble around because because basically in most racing games, the car is a solid piece, right? This one, like the body is independent of the wheels, and then they said the wheels were like wobbly and shit, And then they said, for example, because like time progresses in the game, So let's say you start, you're racing on Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the track is nice and pristine, it's clean, right? It said by Sunday, like not only will it be all dirty and fucked up, but there's actually going to be like rubber embedded in the actual track.
Mm-hmm.
So if you drive over that, you'll actually get better traction,
mm-hmm.
And then like if there's a car in front of you, like the water will actually splash and actually affect how you drive and stuff. And then they said like they have like races where like they allow fast and slow cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you figure like, okay, wait, if you have a fast car, you're gonna win. No, but what happens is if your car is fast, what's going to happen? You're going to go around. You're going to be behind the other guy. So you got to navigate through all these dudes,
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty crazy. Again, I'm not really into like sim races, but that shit was pretty impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely put a lot into it. But I just find it so funny. This guy was talking so much shit,
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, they show Nino Kuni too. It's basically like they had a lot of the guys that worked in Studio Ghibli working on it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of that composer? Joe something. The guy has an American name, Joe something. Like he's worked on every single Studio Ghibli movie since Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind,
mm-hmm.
right? So they have him. One of the designers was from whatchamacallit from
mm-hmm.
Studio Ghibli, and he got the same director from the first game. So it's the same.
It's the same.
They
people.
said it's like the A-team is back, So
yeah.
That's going to be really good. And then Dragon Ball. That's like the one everybody wanted to get to, and I finally got to play it, dude. It's an Arc System Works game, man. It's fucking awesome.
Arc System Works again. We can't say this enough. They've always made really stellar like fighting games.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they do this with only like 20 people on their team. They have a really tiny team, but they put out like you look at the last Guilty Gear game, right? There's so much additional stuff that's in that additional content and characters and things to unlock. It's like, hey, Street Fighter, you probably got like 50 people working on that.
Yeah, exactly.
How come you can't get it right?
By the way, Essen, I met Reggie Weapon X for a little bit because I was playing Agents of Mayhem yesterday. He came up behind me and like hugged me and stuff, but that was it. Then he was gallivanting around with fucking Hip Hop Gamer the whole time. Like they went to the Michael Pachter party and shit. They went to some place around here in Beverly Hills. Actually,
they went to like some sort of movie opening.
Yeah, movie opening. Reggie was doing it up, and because he was hit with Hip Hop Gamer, he got to play every game he wanted to.
Oh yeah,
Hip Hop Gamer. He's big time.
The man. So
So what's some of the other stuff with Dragon Ball? Oh, I gotta say this. I'm not gonna call out any names. Not that I remember these guys' names. I gotta call out these two journalists in that fucking room, man. Okay. Usually when you go to presentations, right? How does it go? They give the presentation, you ask questions.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers were asking questions during the middle of it. And the Namco Bandai guys were too polite to stop them. They would answer questions like, my man, let them finish the fucking presentation first, and then you can ask your questions. It was really annoying. It's like and dumb questions. Will this game have more than 6 fighters? What do you think, man? Come on, you're wasting everybody's time. Let him finish his thing. So that was pretty stupid. I'm like, come on, man. Like, you're supposed to be. Oh, I've had 12 appointments today. I'm like, did you act that stupid during all 12 of them too? Asking dumbass questions. Like, if you have stupid questions, okay, but save them till the end of the thing, man.
Exactly.
Like, I thought that was like a given with anything,
Well, again, I don't know who these guys were, but
these are the same. These are the same people that ask you questions during the movie you're watching for the first time.
Oh yeah, they ask you obvious questions like, "Is that Hellboy?
Is that Hellboy?"
Yeah.
Like, come on, son. Like, shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah.
I can't say this publicly though. I had a meeting with a very, very big studio, and I'm not saying like, oh, they're kind of big. They're arguably the biggest studio in the planet. Actually, I'll give you one clue, and that's it.
No, you shouldn't give any clue. Don't. All
right, I'll give you a clue. Their game consistently shows up at NPD, and we always make fun of that. Very good, productive talks and stuff. So I hope something good comes out of that. But yeah, that was, and then after that, I just actually didn't work. I was actually, because I kind of fucked up this year with the scheduling. I booked a bunch of shit. I was like, Tony, you don't have actually time to write any of this stuff. So tomorrow you're gonna see my write-up for Shadow War. Hopefully that'll go up. But I got a bunch of shit I got to write, but tomorrow it's a pretty slow day for me. So I should be able to write a couple of things. I'm going to get right to the Dragon Ball thing, because I know you guys want to read about that. So I'm going to get right in there, but I also need to write about Bloodstained, Agents of Mayhem, something else, a couple of things. But yeah, other than that, the day was pretty good. Me and Manny hung out with our friend Jimmy. He, he's local and stuff, so he took us to like the art district here, which was really cool. We went to this like German sausage place, which was really nice. Getting like the sights of LA. I like that shit. But and I had one of those moments, man. Like we turned a corner. I'm like, this is GTA 5, like they captured like some of these streets so well. Like it looks exactly like it, because in the game, that is the art district too, And I'm like, that's the place where the clothes shop is, man.
Jimmy's a longtime friend of mine. Like I worked with him for like 5 years on the Ninja Turtles cartoon. We were both part of the color department.
Yeah.
So he moved out here maybe a few years ago. For the work, thing is that in New York, the animation side of things kind of dried up a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, I stuck around, but Jimmy decided, the best thing would be to do just to go back into California. And he's telling me today that, telling us today that he's going to move back home, back to
San Fran,
back to the Bay Area where he used to live, because for Jimmy, he originally came over because he went to college in New York. So now this is like early 2000s.
That's crazy.
So he stuck around in New York. We worked together from 2000, late 2005 to 2009.
Yeah.
So he stuck around there, and then for a few more years after that, and then he decided to move back pretty recently. So.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, Jimmy's a good guy. I'm
cool.
like, like I talk to him all the time on Twitter, so it's not like I exactly miss the guy, but it's just it was just hanging out with him. He's a very California type of guy too, but he keeps it real, which I like.
Very, very chill.
Yeah, very chill. But I like that. Since we have time here, Essen wants to ask me. He goes, Tony, did you get a opportunity to see Days Gone, Spider-Man, and Detroit behind closed doors? No, none. The Sony booth is so crazy. If I don't have an appointment, I'm not fucking with it. So, and Sony, I'm just being honest, Sony is very, very stingy when it comes to appointments. So if you didn't get invited beforehand, you ain't getting in.
And then there's
none of that shit.
Then there's the app. There's this whole app situation where you have to use an app in order to do that thing. The only thing about using the app is it's like as soon as it opens up, it closes out.
Yeah.
Like every single person just keeps hitting, add. So
it's so fucking stupid.
I did last time was because I was so annoyed, last year because they did the same thing. I just waited on I had nothing else to do, so I just waited on the rollover line. This morning I could have watched a presentation of Days Gone, but I don't really have any sort of interest in Days Gone. I kind of want to play Detroit.
Yeah.
I want to play Detroit, and I don't know. There wasn't really anything in the Sony booth that I could see that I was interested in. This year, even though they have a bigger booth, they don't have as many games on the actual floor.
You think so?
No. They have more. They have more of the same game on the floor.
Oh, okay.
So, like before, it was like, okay, you had those big heavy hitter games that you could you can make your appointments for, but now everything there was appointments. So like for last year, Gravity Rush didn't have it. Entwined didn't have it.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of other games that were released that didn't have any real lines. They just had you just stood on the line and you could get in. This year now everything is blocked behind the app, and there's not as many games there. I'm sure there's more games behind closed doors, but I feel like the way Sony kind of tailored the main area was to the regular folks that are going to be out there. So they're going to put all the big heavy hitter things out there and then just kind of leave the other stuff aside. Yeah. They had another area where that was a area that you could be invited to, but obviously I don't have the clout to get in there, and Tony doesn't have the clout to get in there. So even
though I'm verified,
even though he's verified,
that shit don't matter. You got to understand something, man. Like I do want to address this. It's very annoying because there's a lot of people I'm seeing on my Twitter timeline that they're going, oh, why are you complaining? You're a journalist. You can see whatever game you want. It doesn't work like that. Like you guys are not understanding the situation. If you're IGN, GameSpot, Polygon, Kotaku, you're going to get there to see every game you want, right?
Yeah.
Smaller guys like me, Coalition, we ain't getting in like that,
No. The Coalition guys, they had to wait on lines just like anybody else if they didn't have any sort of appointments.
Yep.
So luckily, the thing about about a lot of the Coalition are actually here, so they're able to hit more things.
Yeah.
But if you don't have your appointments or you can't get it, that's it. You can't do it.
Yeah. So that, again, I don't understand where that like kind of mentality comes from, where it's like, oh, you're a journalist, you get to see everything. Like,
no,
you realize we're not all created equal, right?
It doesn't happen that way. If you're Arthur Guys, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I'm not gonna get to it. One of our friends was telling us like, oh yeah, the whole gaming thing is a little bit cliquey, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it is, man. Like if you're like on the the top tier sites, all those dudes congregate with each other. Guys like us, we hang out with each other. They don't talk to us.
Yeah.
Just being honest. They kind of, I would even say they kind of look down on us.
There's a couple of guys. There's
like Luke Plunkett. Remember, why are these independent guys here taking up all this space?
Yeah, that was Luke Plunkett wrote that whole article about the independent guys.
All they do is just steal swag.
All they do is just steal swag. I mean, I never fucking stole any swag when I was working for STFU Play. In fact,
I gave that shit back. I don't want that.
Yeah, I gave it back. I gave back swag today.
Yeah,
because I was like, I can't take this, and I'm sure somebody else would much more appreciate than I would.
Yeah. So again, but this is part of it too. It's like, we have to kind of apologize to you guys that we can't bring you more coverage, just for the simple fact. Think about it like this: if you go back to watch any of our previous reports on E3, we would Manny specifically have a ton of games that he could talk about. This year, nothing, because all these fans, and that's the thing you guys need to understand, right? This hurts the smaller guys, because there's a lot of guys out there that have made it big because of their E3 shit. They get recognized. Now that's being lost. Amid a sea of yellow badges and shit. And by the way, can somebody tell? Because I said like something about yellow badges, and people on the internet was like, "Oh, given history, that seems in poor taste." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, so if I'm saying something, like, was it something for Jews? I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
Yellow badges, like literally they have yellow badges. I'm not trying to be racist or something. Yeah. Fucking retarded,
Yeah, it's it just kind of especially if we're a lot of. I mean, again, I'm kind of a separate case because I'm not full on covering the show anymore. I'm not at that real capacity. I mean, most of the time I'm just doing it so that I could so we could have something to talk about on the show. Or I'll take photos and stuff that Tony can use, and if you ever noticed our little images are always usually new photos that I've taken during the day.
Yeah, those are straight from us.
They're straight from us. So like I'll take shots of the show and do all kinds of stuff, so we can use in post and stuff. But yeah, I'm not in any real official capacity, but still it does make things a little bit difficult to kind of bring the sort of stuff that we've brought in the past to you guys. Hopefully next year they do a little bit of something different where they're not clashing so many things at the same time, because I know, I mean, obviously I want everybody to experience E3, but I feel like there's a way we can do that where everybody can be
everybody wins. Look, and this is what was explained to me about Tokyo Game Show. So they have one day that's dedicated to press, the full day to press, right? Then all the other subsequent days, right? The first 2 hours are for press and the rest are for fans. That's how you do it, because we get to do our work, right? And then the fans get to have fun. Everybody wins, because obviously, my ideal situation would be like, you have the normal E3 days, and then the weekend you have the fans, but those developers, publishers, they need to get back to work. So I understand they don't want to extend it for a whole week. As a matter of fact, I was telling my friend Jamie, who does PR and stuff, about that. She's like, "Fuck you! You want me to work more?"
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can't extend it, but you can modify it a bit. Like I would even say this: Tuesday you have full on for us, right? And then Wednesday and Thursday you have that the fans come in after like 12. That would be good. That's how you can make it work. But right now this shit is a fucking mess, man. It's really bad.
Yeah, it's sad that it just I mean, it's just a little disappointing that I couldn't go around and do the things that I usually do. I'm usually pretty good on it, but even the lines just kind of scared me away from it.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I really want to play this thing that much? Do I want to sit on this line for 5 hours to play a less than a 30-minute demo?
That's the other thing I want to bring up, right? In this current situation right now, and I guess this goes for like a lot of conventions, people are paying $250, right? And remember, the show floor is only open 8 hours, right? 7 to 8 hours, right? These people are spending $250 to spend most of their time on a line. How is that worth it? I don't get that.
I mean, the one thing that that they did do is that because all the little events that they have, they always scan your badges and stuff, so that's kind of cool. But at the same time, it's like, we have all these other, I feel like all those things we just doesn't need to be clashing.
Yeah.
Like even, be even cooler. It's like, okay, you have like the show, but, you have like the, what is it? The press time, right? Why not during those press times, you schedule some of those panels that they're starting to put in, have some of those. So in other words, there's all the fans have something to go to before the actual show opens.
Yeah.
To kind of get them prepared, that you can kind of cycle them in, But it's for supposedly for them, it's a learning process.
I guess.
They obviously didn't look at it what any other show is doing except for maybe PAX.
Yeah, exactly.
But even PAX has a more of a they have a system where they actually have two different lines for both sides.
Never had a problem with PAX, man. Like even my first PAX, I had absolutely no appointments. I got to play a shit ton of games. So as soon as I flash that badge, you're like, there you go. That, and E3 is not really doing that. They're like, okay, that's cute. Get back to the end of the line. Like it's fucking. And the thing is, E3 is no longer an expo because it's a convention now. It should be like E2C. Electronic Entertainment Convention. EEC. By the way, quick shout out to Edwin Garcia. We met him. He works for Nerdist. He's a video game at Nerdist, right? Super cool dude. Us Hispanics, we like to stick together. Again, like just going through that Marriott, you run into people. It's pretty fun.
That seems to be like the congregation point now.
Yeah. By the way, since we still have, again, we didn't really have much to do today. Ask us questions. We'll answer a couple.
Oh yeah.
We'll give you some time here. I don't understand what. Essence saying a bunch of stuff. I don't understand why they don't have dedicated press days. I don't either.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like they just didn't look at what anybody else is doing. They just kind of said, "All right."
By the way, he goes, I think these idiots who are commenting on quote unquote journalist privilege have zero idea or appreciation that writing about games is a job, not some lackadaisical hobby. Thank you. That's what Manny said yesterday. Imagine if your job is to clean up the street, right? And people are just standing around. They're getting in the way of your job, Kal-El, he goes, Ni no Kuni is playable. Yeah, it was, but I'm going to be honest with you. Even though you know me, I'm fucking excited for Ni no Kuni too. But JRPG demos are always bad. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend all this. What the fuck am I watching on this TV right now? Jesus Christ. So anyway, those demos are really bad, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time waiting on this line.
Oh, yeah.
So fuck that shit. But it is playable.
Like JRPGs and turn-based RPGs are very hard sell on the floor because you kind of feel like you a little rushed. I mean, I've tried a couple of things on there, like in the previous years, and I was just like, this feels weird. I feel like I'm like on the clock or something.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, speaking about RPGs, I had to play Battle Chasers. Right, nice. That was cool. My man Joe Maduro was there. He was there last year, but this time it was just him presenting the game. But since I had already played the game, he didn't need to go through too many of the intricacies and or whatever, But it was cool playing the game. It's in a finished copy. Here's the thing, just to correct something, because the rumor was that the game was coming to Switch first, then every other. No, it was for every console at the same time.
Okay.
And then he also said that it was actually pretty easy to port it over to the Switch. So that's pretty good.
That's cool.
I asked him about Darksiders 2. I don't know if I can say this publicly though, but I'll just say this: there's no bad blood. There's no bad blood because people were wondering like, was there a falling out? There wasn't anything like that. I'll just say he just didn't have time. He redesigned the main girl, right? Fury, because remember he created her. So, but that was about it. So he didn't say it, but it seemed to me that he wanted to work on the game, but he was busy with Battle Chaser, so he couldn't do both, But I do like the fact that there is no bad blood between them, in the studios.
I mean, I wouldn't think there was any sort of bad blood. I mean, from what I've heard about the development situation with the Darksiders games, it was not really why THQ fell apart. It wasn't their fault.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But so Battle Chasers is really fun. It's a classical turn-based art. It's weird. It's like when you're exploring, it's a dungeon crawler, but then when you get into battles, it's like turn-based, and it's very much like Final Fantasy X, where you see the turns and stuff. Beautiful art, you know, Joe Madureira, obviously. But it was cool. I'm glad he, like he had that familiarity with me because we had a really good chat last time about comics and stuff. You know, that was good. Essen goes, have you guys heard of the controversy about Assassin's Creed Origins? The Xbox One X port is going to use the same checkerboard rendering method as PS4 Pro, and Xbox are crying foul. Let's talk about that. And again, very frustrating for me because you guys don't listen to Throwdown. I mean, you guys listen, obviously, but I'm talking about these people don't listen to Throwdown. We said this shit from day one. Yeah. We told you that most third-party games are not going to be like, you know, crazy native 4K 60 frames per second. Because why would a developer put like time and resources into a version of a game that it's not going to yield like any extra sales? You know what I mean? And by the way, when I say version of a game, I mean like add a patch to it, because there's no like, oh, you have to buy the separate pro version or whatever. You know, think about it like this: like we pointed out, all the games that are getting Xbox X enhancements, they're all PS Pro 4 games, or PS4 Pro games.
If you looked at the list, Rhyme and all those games, those were all ones that were already pro patched.
Exactly.
So those are ones that are all going to take advantage and have all the little sliders. And
I don't want to say, you know, because it is kind of demeaning to say, oh, developers are lazy. No, they take the path of least resistance and the path that's going to cost them the least amount of money.
Yeah, right? If they're gonna start like picking and choosing as to which versions they're gonna fuck around with,
my man Lou, what up? He's got to say that. Yeah, they're not gonna fuck around.
They're not gonna do it. What they're gonna do is they're gonna like, okay, we're already going down this road, and it's just gonna be the same on each one. And I'm sure. I mean, did they say they didn't say that when the PC version of that game was gonna come out, right?
No, for Assassin's Creed, no, they did.
Yeah,
isn't it supposed to be the same day? Oh, by the way, just random. Sprechen Z Vern as you two share that bed. Yes, we snuggle every night.
Yes, we do.
Look how big that bed is, man. We don't even get close to each other, you know?
Yeah, you can literally fit another person in between us.
Yeah.
Hey, that's just the way it's just the way it has to be.
Yeah.
It was the only room that we could get, so you know what? Buck up. Just, you know.
Yeah, I'm guessing some people haven't experienced hotel life. That's how it is. But yeah, like again, we told you all this shit because the Digital Foundry, I guess they're enemies again for Xbox guys. They prove that they use not checkerboard rendering. It is checkerboard rendering, but the name, you know, the Xbox version is sparse rendering. Rendering. So basically, the point of it is it's not true 4K like Microsoft has entitled. Like, oh, we have the first true 4K machine. Yeah, that's nice, but most of those games ain't gonna be true 4K. This is what I've been telling people. You need to stop with that whole 4K bullshit. Who gives a fuck? Like maybe what 15% or less of gamers even own 4K TVs. Why are we building like these new consoles unless like, okay, if you're gonna go through the trouble of doing that shit, why not have them have higher frames consistently? All these games, bro, 30 frames, man. It's fucking bullshit. You know, I'm saying right now, this and the PlayStation 4 Pro, they hoodwinked us. You know, we should have just waited until next gen, man.
What did I say?
Yeah.
What did I say from the beginning, guys? You're not going to get anything better than what we're going to get having right now. And again, I've been proven right about this situation. I wouldn't say it's exactly a rope-a-dope situation, but it is what it is. You're not going to yes, it gives you a 4K experience. It does upscale it to 4K, and it does. Both consoles do give you good performances as far as like, you know, like load times and stuff like that. But at the same time, we're still in the same generation of consoles. These are just marginal upgrades above the other ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, the Xbox One X is the most powerful console out there, but to be honest, the only ones who are probably going to utilize the power of that console is probably going to be Microsoft themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I gotta say this, but well, first of all, I gotta give Lou a shout. La caja, my man. Dude, another thing I called, I just didn't realize it was gonna be this early. The Essence says this. I'm having like, damn, this is early already. There is a sale for PS4 Pro for $300.
Yeah.
Come on, son. Remember these dudes are running around saying, oh, Xbox is going to kill Sony. I'm like, how? With a more expensive console? Fuck out of here, man. Yeah. And Wild West Gamer, he asked me, Monster Hunter World demo is playable. Okay, was it playable? And did you play it? And was it any good? I'm seeing Capcom tomorrow, baby. So like, stay tuned for that.
We'll find out about that one tomorrow.
Pretty interesting about Capcom because I made my appointment with them a month ago, right? And they were like, "Oh, we have this, that, and the other thing, and we have one unannounced game." As soon as Monster Hunter was announced, I got another email. By the way, the unannounced game is Monster Hunter, and I'm also gonna have to play Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Everybody knows that, and Mega Man Legacy 2. The Revenge,
which they do have playable, and they have a little line for that one.
Yeah, I saw the little Mega Man statue, which is pretty fun. And yeah, Wild West Gamer says 1 year overhyping the Xbox One X flushed down a toilet. Don't you find it interesting? The usual characters very, very quiet. They're not saying nothing now.
Yeah,
they're not saying shit now, are they? Isn't that interesting, right? And that's why these guys were upset because this shit is $500 and it's not true 4K. All the shit they've been saying for a year rendered to nothing. It's hilarious.
I feel like
it's so fucking pathetic. Like I want to make fun of them, but I feel like I'm kicking the crippled guy or something. I'm the crippled guy. I could get away with saying that. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's just mean. So that's why I haven't been on Twitter saying nothing. I'm like, man, that's just like, how sad is your life that you have to champion this piece of plastic, and now when a piece of plastic disappoints you, you just like go back into the shadows, man. What the fuck?
I feel like, yeah, it's like, it's to be honest, it's like, I don't know why they thought that this was going to save something. And also, you gotta remember, like, it's not bad being the second one.
It ain't, yeah.
You're still making more. We're still making more than Nintendo.
Yeah,
Even though they keep saying Nintendo's doing amazingly, they're not doing that amazingly.
No, they're not,
because they're not even passing Xbox.
Yeah.
So we still have that. So there's still that thing. And again, the games are what matters. That is plain and simple. Consoles don't save shit. In fact, most of the time, these console companies sell their consoles at a loss.
Yeah.
And they recoup their costs from the sales of software.
Yep, exactly. Hey, even Phil Spencer said it. When you're talking more about hardware and not games, we're losing the narrative. I completely agree with Uncle Phil on that one. So you guys lost the narrative, man. By the way, we're running on like 11% battery, so you should probably kill this soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's going to be our day 2. The final day is tomorrow, so hopefully we got I'll play Monster Hunter. I'll let you guys know what's up. And tomorrow's a light day for me, so I probably won't have too many stories, right? But it'll be good nonetheless. So once again, I was Tony, that was Manny, and we'll see you around next time.
See you later, guys.